Hey everyone, welcome to Shimmer Girl Talks. Today's topic is that return to the land controversy that is going on right now. And I think it's probably split views. Some people are clutching their pearls over it, and some people are like, fine, go ahead, I don't care. And I think I am in the latter. I don't care. But before I get into my opinion, let's read this from MSN.com. And if I remember, I will leave the article in my description box. So let me see who wrote this article. A disturbing look inside Arkansas's whites-only community. Written by Jennifer Sandlin. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, obviously. I recently watched this disturbing half-hour video, Inside Return to the Land, the group making a whites-only community in Arkansas, which provides a glimpse into a whites-only online movement turned real-life community called Return to the Land, or RTTL, which is located on 160 acres deep in the Ozark Mountains of Arkansas. Created by Sky News reporter Tom Cheshire, the video and the accompanying article explore the ethno-nationalist movement that draws heavily on Nazi and white supremacist ideas. The group's public chat on Telegram, for example, includes references to 1488 and the 14 words well-documented white supremacist numbers and slogans. The founder also explicitly states explicitly that they've started a whites-only community that he describes as a fortress for the white race. 40 members currently live at the community they call Return to the Land, and hundreds more folks across the world have paid to be members of the organization, many with the hopes of someday also move to the property in Arkansas. I don't have an issue with this from a surface level. Now, if you follow my content, you know that I do not like to dwell in the past. I think that we as a culture and community should strive to look beyond the past, not forget. I'm not saying forget, just strive to look beyond the past and move forward. But if you also know our history, and I have to make sure that I bring this up because it's going to be somebody that's going to have their eye twitching and being butt hurt over my comment. I'm well aware of what white people's ancestors did to our ancestors 100 plus years ago. So I would like to state the cities that were purposely destroyed by white people back in the day. So in a sense, it's like they have some gall to want to do this when there was a time when black people were living and thriving in their own communities of black people. But it took a white woman to lie and say that she was raped by a black man. And we all know that that is a farce and is false. So let me name some of the cities that were destroyed by white people 100 plus years ago. And I got this from BET.com. And I'm not going to read the article. I'm just going to read off the cities. Colfax, Louisiana. That happened in 1873. Wilmington, North Carolina, 1898. Atlanta, 1906. Elaine, Arkansas, 1919. Rosewood, we all know about that. It's a movie about that. Florida, that's 1923. That's the year my late grandma was born. And there are many more horrific stories of white people going into black established communities to destroy it. So with all that said, I am not mad at these people for wanting to do this. Those are the ones that I prefer. Those are the type of white people that I prefer, that lets me know, stay away from them. Stay away from me. I would definitely stay away from you. And here's the thing. There are already white communities. There are unwritten rules throughout America of white only communities. They just don't be vocal about it. And let me give you an example. Many years ago, it's definitely 10 plus years ago, I was at work. And there was these two nurses talking, white nurses. One was male, the other was female. And they didn't know that I was standing behind them. So they were talking about this community. I'm not sure where, but it was in my state. And so one of them, and I don't remember which one now, said, "Is it restricted?" Which I knew what they meant, because when they realized I was behind them, I think it was the female nurse, she kind of like nudged him. So it must have been the guy that asked, "Is it restricted?" Because she nudged him when she realized I was standing behind them. I personally see nothing wrong with people wanting to live amongst themselves, providing they do not do harm to others because of that. I remember years ago, I used to work in this upscale community that had a lot of, celebrities that was sometimes coming to the store where I used to work. But we also had some skinheads come in there one day. And I remember I'm standing at the cash register, and as they were walking by, they were just giving me the most dirtiest, most evilest look. And I think people like that they should be separated from the rest of society. If you can't live amongst people that don't look like you, then yeah, you should separate yourself. And not only that, there's nothing wrong with them wanting to stay amongst themselves as long as they do not hurt others. That's the operative word right there. As long as they don't hurt others. And it's unfortunate that we as a race and community, we cannot pull ourselves together to do the same. Because I'm going to tell you, if I had the money and means to create a community, I would be very selective about who I allowed within my community. So I totally get it, because I'm not going to just allow anybody into my community just based on the fact that they're black. I would definitely be doing some sort of question and answers, get in the field, looking at their social media to see where their headspace is in. So yeah, I'm not mad at these people for wanting to separate. My issue is them hurting people, like I said, and their community never really apologizing for what they've done to our community in the years past. But again, if you follow my channel, you already know that I try not to dwell in the past. I think that our best course of action would be to move forward and stop looking in the past behind us, because it's not, serving any purpose for us to grow. So, and another point that I wanted to make when I was thinking about doing this video, you guys remember the election 2024, when you had black people who were Harris supporters and Democrats telling each other to turn their back on black conservatives. So, don't invite them over for Thanksgiving dinner. It might have been said in jest or as a joke, but they weren't joking, and we know it and they know it. So I don't want to hear no black people being upset about this. And actually, I haven't really heard anybody being upset about this, other than maybe like other white people. I read a comment the other day about, this white woman said something about it seems like it's going to be some Handmaid's Tale. I've never watched that show, so I know it's supposed to be scary for the modern woman, being controlled by a man, controlled by men. And think about the Amish. Somebody made a good point. I don't think that there are people of color in the Amish community unless they adopt it. I remember I used to watch Breaking Amish, and there was this melanated young girl. I forgot. Well, I think she might have been Puerto Rican, and she had been adopted into an Amish family. I think it was Mennonite. She was a Mennonite or whatever. So there are all white communities, but this one, because they are leading their community based on hate, I feel, is why people are up in arms. Now, I don't think that I mentioned it here, but I've been wanting to talk about this for a minute. Now, I live in a predominantly white city. I think it's like 78% white. And I've lived in predominantly black cities, and I grew up in a predominantly white community. So I honestly prefer to live in a predominantly white community, and it's not for the reasons that some of you might think. I don't care if people get offended. You're just going to have to get offended. You call me out of my name, you're going to be blocked. I'm not going back and forth with you. We all have life experiences that dictate, our personalities and opinions and stuff like that. I choose to live in a community where I have peace and quiet. There's not loud music at all hours of the night. There's not gunshots popping off all hours of the night. It's not cars tearing up the street loud. It's not 10 people on the front porch every time you go to work. And all of these things I've experienced in one particular community. I don't have to say which one, but twice once I had a home invasion. And you think I saw all those young men the next day after my house got broken into? No. My car got broken into. You think I saw those young men? And these were like years apart. So, but I'm not going to go into all of that because I already know that people are just too sensitive to, understand certain things. So, and also I like to live in a neighborhood where people decorate for Christmas and Halloween and the 4th of July. That's just how I am. When I lived in a predominantly black community, I was always the only one putting up decorations. And that's a superficial reason, but I'm not going to prove my blackness by moving to a black community just to appease some pro-black, blacks. I'm pro-black to a certain degree. But if pro-black means I have to be woe is me, the man keeping me down, and victimology and all of that stuff, then you can forget it. I'm not buying what y'all selling with that. So that was my topic for today. Tell me what you think about this white-only town, and I will talk to you later. Bye.